Imagine finding a stranger's body on a lonely beach, clutching secret papers that could change the course of a world war, all because he never existed. That corpse, dressed as Major William Martin of the British Army, was one of the greatest deceptions of World War II. But his story didn't end on a Spanish shore. Legend tells of a phantom train vanishing beneath alpine snows. At the same moment, could both be linked as part of one colossal Allied Psychops operation? In the dead of night, on the 30th of July, 1943, the waters off the coast of Huelva, Spain, yielded a remarkable discovery. Local fishermen, drawn by rumors of a mysterious body washed ashore, stumbled upon a man clad in a well-worn military greatcoat, brass buttons gleaming even in the moonlight. In his pocket lay identification papers. Major William Martin of the Seaforth Highlanders. His dossier hinted at rank and courage, yet no one in Madrid or London had ever heard of him. Newspapers swooned over the lost major, speculating on espionage, secret missions, and clandestine meetings behind enemy lines. But within hours, British intelligence revealed an astonishing truth. Major Martin was a fabrication. His body, carefully selected from a deceased homeless man, had been planted as bait in Operation Mincemeat, the most audacious misinformation campaign of the war. Lieutenant Commander Charles Cholmondeley and Flight Lieutenant Ewan Montague of the Royal Navy Submarine Service had conceived a plan so daring that only death could sell it. Montague, an Oxford-educated lawyer with a flair for storytelling, wrote a poignant backstory for Bill Martin, romantic love letters from Pam, a photo of a fictional fiancé, a theater ticket stub, and a personal letter from Churchill himself, indicating plans for an Allied invasion of Greece. They entrusted their false major to the submarine HMS Seraph, which navigated the Strait of Gibraltar under cover of darkness, releasing the body to drift into neutral Spain. Within days, Nazi commanders intercepted the corpse. Its papers delivered straight to Hitler's inner circle. Captured documents were shredded by German intelligence, only to be recovered by Allied double agents, cementing the illusion that Sicily, not Greece, would be the next invasion point. When Allied forces landed in Sicily on the 10th of July, 1943, the Germans were caught off guard, suffering heavy losses. Operation Mincemeat had succeeded so completely that Germany never realized the true target until it was too late. But long before the Major Martin legend spread across Europe, another phantom had haunted the Alpine Possessa ghostly train that entered a tunnel in the Swiss Alps and simply vanished. On the 15th of January, 1940, the Orient Express, normally bound for Istanbul, was rerouted through a lesser-used mountain pass due to inclement weather. As the locomotive thundered toward the Gierenbad tunnel near Visp, passengers noticed something odd. The lights inside flickered, and the horn seemed to wail in a lower pitch. The last voice heard over the radio an unsettled plea for help cut off abruptly. When rescue teams entered the tunnel hours later, they found no trace of the train, its coaches, or its cargo. Neither rail nor wreckage remained. The tunnel itself appeared undisturbed, as if nothing had passed through. Local villagers whispered of lights deep within the mountains and distant whistles echoing through the valley on stormy nights. Decades of official inquiry yielded no conclusion. Swiss Federal Railways engineers insisted the tunnel was structurally sound, with no hidden alcoves to hide an entire train. Witnesses described an eerie green glow inside the tunnel just before the disappearance, reminiscent of phosphorescent smoke. Even more curious, the train's manifest listed high-ranking German officers among its passengers, traveling incognito to a secret conference. Some theorized a collision with a flaming enemy aircraft. Others suspected a Soviet mine planted by communist spies. Yet no credible evidence ever surfaced. The Swiss government quietly sealed the tunnel entrance to prevent trespassers, but graffitied warnings still bear witness to the vanished rails. Beware the phantom. What if these two mysteries, the corpse of Major Martin and the vanishing train, were not coincidences, but coordinated operations? Recent declassified British files suggest that Operation Mincemeat was only the opening gambit in a grander campaign of disinformation. In early 1940, Allied leaders, especially Churchill and his chief of staff, had fretted over too much transparency. They needed a method to conceal troop movements, mislead spies, and maintain morale among occupied nations. A phantom train, supposedly filled with German dignitaries, could serve as a decoy to distract Axis intelligence from real convoy routes supplying Soviet resistance. Imagine a staged disappearance. A train built in an isolated rail yard, drivers briefed to jump clear as it entered the tunnel, then disappearing into a sealed cavern beneath the Alps. Rescue teams would find empty cars. The real train, its cargo, and its high-value passengers would have been diverted the previous night into a concealed siding. Such an operation would require clandestine cooperation between British SOE agents, Swiss informants, and local mountaineers. We know from SOE memoirs that small teams were parachuted into the Alps to sabotage rail lines, ignite avalanches, and guide stranded soldiers. One agent, known only by codename Stallion, left behind encoded diaries mentioning a Project Silver. In a ciphered passage, he describes painting cars with false unit insignia, forging papers for passengers never meant to board, and rigging the tunnel entrance with time charges to obscure tracks. Unfortunately, those diaries were lost in a fire at an Allied safe house in Grenoble, but intercepted German communications reference a ghost convoy that never arrived in Italy. The Germans, fearing an ambush, rerouted their supply trains through Sardinia, leaving hundreds of miles of Alpine rails unused. Parallel accounts from Swiss mountain villages tell of nocturnal lights and strange sound-skittering wheels, muffled horns, and ghostly whistles. Farmers near the Simplon Pass reported seeing a locomotive glimmering in the moonlight, its drivers waving before it vanished into solid rock. One elderly shepherd, interviewed in 1974, claimed his sheep scattered when the train passed, though he saw no tracks afterward. Ghost stories circulated in taverns. Some believed the train was cursed, carrying souls of the dead to an underground railway that linked to the afterlife. Others whispered of a secret rail network built by the Jesuits centuries earlier, repurposed by wartime intelligence. Critics dismissed these tales as wartime rumor and folklore. Yet a handful of railway engineers, including retired Colonel Hans Meyer, insist that clandestine chambers do exist beneath the Gierenbad Tunnel. In a rare 1,982 interview, Meyer revealed blueprints showing a maintenance alcove large enough to hold several train cars. He speculated that, if sealed and vented correctly, a hidden track could allow a train to be diverted and disguised as tunnel debris. Official Swiss historians have downplayed Meyer's claims, citing discrepancies in his documents. But recently, a secret appendix to the original tunnel construction contract, uncovered in a Zurich archive, mentions emergency sidings for military use possibly built to allow rapid mobilization or evacuation. Meanwhile, Spanish archives confirm the authenticity of the body used in Operation Mincemeat. Post-mortem records match the features of a transient Welsh vagrant identified only as Glenn Vermichael after death. His corpse was embalmed, dressed, and annotated with meticulous care. Letters from Montague's grandson, released in 2017, reveal that Montague had long dreamed of expanding Mincemeat into a larger deception network home that would include fake convoys, false radio chatter, and even dummy airfields. Operation Mincemeat was just Phase 1, he wrote, with Phase 2 involving a series of phantom Allied columns rumored to cross the Pyrenees south of Barcelona. Could that network have extended to the Alps, using the Phantom train as Phase 3? More tantalizingly, recently declassified German signal intercept logs describe conversations between Gestapo officers in Madrid and Berlin, referencing Major Martin alongside Project Geisterzug, the Ghost Train project. The logs note coded references to Operation Silver Moon and Tunnel Echoes, indicating joint concern over both deceptions. Historians have questioned the logs' provenance, as they surfaced only after a Freedom of Information request in 2011. Yet, cryptographers at Bletchley Park insist the German codebook pages used to encrypt them match those intercepted in 1943. This man woke up in a world slightly off. His apartment was the same, but the furniture had moved. His girlfriend? Gone. Never existed, according to everyone. His workplace? Still there, but no record he ever worked there. The weirdest part? He had a scar on his hand from a childhood accident he clearly remembered. But no one else, not even his family, remembers it happening. Doctors say it's dissociative amnesia. He's convinced he slipped into a parallel universe. Real mental glitch? Or proof of the multiverse? Follow for more stories that feel like sci-fi but aren't.